أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي بمحمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن عدوهم. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam said, the speed of enmity between the hearts of pious people when they meet, even if they do not show their mutual love on their tongues, is like the speed of the rain water when it mixes with the water of rivers, and the distance between the hearts of the wicked when they meet, even if they make a show of love on their tongues, is like the distance between beasts that cannot have a mutual affection, no matter how long they eat from the same trough. قال الإمام الصادق عليه السلام: إن سرعة ائتلاف قلوب الأبرار إذا التقوا إن سرعة ائتلاف قلوب الأبرار إذا التقوا وإن لم يظهروا التودد بألسنتهم. حتى لو واحد ما يقول له أنا أحبك كذا، أنت قريب من عندي. وإن لم يظهروا التودد بألسنتهم كسرعة اختلاط ماء السماء بماء الأنهار. ماء السماء لما ينزل على ماء رأسا يختلط، هكذا الأبرار مع بعض. وإن بعد ائتلاف قلوب الفجار إذا التقوا، شوف الفجار إذا التقوا، وإن أظهروا التودد بألسنتهم كبعد البهائم بألسنتهم وإن أظهروا التودد بألسنتهم كبعد البهائم من التعاطف وإن طال اعتلافها على مذود واحد. سبحان الله. بلي شيخ، المكان الواحد اللي ياكلون به، كأنما القصعة الواحدة اللي ياكلون بها. شايف مرات تجي الغزالة تاكل تشرب مية منين؟ من فترعة، واكو جوة تمساح رأسا، حتى هو وياه بنفسهم يشربون هذه، واحد ياكل الثاني، او اسد او كذا. With Islamic transaction, we reach to issue 1900. If a date tree or vine, you know, raisins. Vine, it means العنب، يعني هاي بالضبط الفاين الكرم، يعني الأشجار مثل شو نقول العنب اللي عندها عريش، اللي عندها الصوبات مو تمام. So if a date tree or vine bears fruit twice in a year, and when combined they reach, when combined means the first beer and the second beer, the first crop and the second crop, okay, when combined them they reach the minimum taxable limit. How much is that? 847 kilograms. We mentioned that before. Okay, it is obligatory as a precaution to pay its zakat. It is obligatory as a precaution to pay zakat. Maybe one crop will be on March, and the other crop will be in September. Okay, we should if we combine the two crops, they reach what? They reach to 847 kilograms. All right, as obligatory precaution, we should what? We should pay zakah according to Sayyid Sistani. Issue number 1901. If a person has a quantity of dates or grapes which have not dried up, still they are what? Still they are wet, not dry, and which would reach the taxable limit. As you know, how much the taxable limit is? 847 kilograms. This is put it in your mind. Okay, would reach the taxable limit, and which would reach the taxable limit when dried up. Now he collects them and they are still what? Still what? But after they dried up, they reach to what? They will reach to 847 kilograms. He can replace them with fresh fruits. He can replace them with fresh fruits. What does that mean? Like to say dates and grapes. He can change them with what? With fresh date or with fresh grape. With the purpose of giving zakat, the intention why we replace them. That means we replace the dry ones with what? With the fresh ones, in order to what? In order to give it for zakah, provided that if they were dry, they would be equal to the obligatory amount of zakah. The fresh ones, which I want to replace it instead of the dry ones, if they become dry, they should what? They should reach to the same what? To the same amount of zakah, not less. Not less. Yes, Sheikh, do you have a question?
Sheikh, yes. If the first grape reached the taxable limit, then the second one also reached.
Mm-hmm.
So I should pay twice zakat?
No. Wait. Here, for Satan, what he wants to tell you. He wants to tell you, if you have two crops, okay? Two crops. In March and in September. But in March, it doesn't reach what? The limits of liable taxes. And also in September, if they are alone, they are not what? They are not 847. Sistani said, if you collect them together, if they reach to the 847, you should pay khums. But if the first one is 847 and the second one is 847, you should pay zakah for each one. For each one, not two times, Shaykhana, not two times. For each one of them, because this one has the limits of tax of liable taxes, and this one also has the same way. So I have to pay zakah from this and this.
So concerning the first crop, should I wait until I collect the second crop? For example, the first crop reached the 847.
I have the weight in my mind. Even if I sell it, Sheikh.
Is it obligatory for me to pay zakah after I sell it, or just wait to the
Shaykhana?
Yes.
Now I know that I have what, for example, from the first beer is what? Is, for example, 400 kilograms. Okay? I sell it. Say that, I sell it. And for the second crop, from the same trees, pay attention, my brothers. We are talking about the same tree.
Yes.
The same tree. This tree have the date or grapes twice a year. You understand me? احنا نتحدث عن محاصيل او اشجار تحمل مرتين بالسنة, twice a year. Wow, you pay attention. In the first time, for example, it doesn't reach to what? To the 847 kilograms. But it is مثلا 500 kilograms. So there is no zakah. There is no zakah. But the second time, it has what? It has 347. So the total, how much? How much?
847.
So I have to pay zakah right now. Have you got it?
Yes.
Now, the other example, if the first crop is 847, shall I pay zakah or not?
Yes.
I have to pay zakah. The second time, if it is what? If it is 847, shall I pay zakah or not? I have to pay zakah.
So in the first time, the question is, in the first time when it is reached 847 and it is obliged for me to pay zakah, should I pay zakah immediately or wait?
Wait for what?
To the other crop.
Why?
And collect them.
Why?
So
You have the way which is 847.
Yes.
So why you are wait for second time?
I paid zakah.
You have to pay
For
zakah.
the first
We finish
crop.
this.
And
After 6 months,
Yes.
yes. I have the same tree and it has 847
yes.
kilograms. I have to pay zakah.
So I paid it twice, but it doesn't mean that it considered that I paid it twice. Is that what you
Shaykhana,
mean?
I paid for each crop. I paid for each crop when it has the liable taxes. أنا أدفع زكاة لكل محصول وصل علما لهذا المقدار بوزن خلاص.
So it doesn't matter in a period of time. The period of time.
I don't care about period of time or how many times this tree gives me grapes or raisins or something like that.
Yes.
What I care about that this crop of this season, it reaches 847 kilograms, so I have to pay zakah. After 6 months, the same tree, it gives me 847 kilograms. Should I pay zakah? Yes, of course I have to pay zakah.
Yes, yes. So this is the difference between khums and zakah is we don't deal with time. We don't
Yeah,
deal
of
with
course.
period of time. Thank you very much.
Of course. Okay, if a person...
Shaykhana, I have a question.
Sorry. Yes.
The replacement and this issue between the dates and the grapes are from the same kind, because he said
Yeah. Of course, from the same
I
date,
cannot
date
replace
instead
dates
of date.
with the grapes.
Grapes with the grapes. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Issue number 1902. If it is already obligatory on person to pay zakah on dry dates or dry raisins. Now it is obligatory on me to pay zakah for the dry dates or the dry raisins. He cannot replace it with fresh. Why? Because he has to pay zakah from which one? From the dry one, not from the fresh one. Okay? If it is already obligatory on a person to pay zakah on dried dates or raisins, he cannot replace it with fresh green dates or grapes. He cannot do that. And if he calculates the value of zakah, now first of all I have to pay what? From the same date, from the same grapes. So it is obligatory on me to pay what? To pay the dry ones. So I have to pay the dry ones. All right. I cannot pay from what? From the green or fresh ones. How about the value? Now I'm not going to pay what? I'm not paying from the grapes or date itself. I'm going to pay from the value. And if he calculates the value of zakah and gives green grapes or dates or other dry raisins or dates against that value, it is a matter of ishkal. It is a matter of ishkal. Look, if he calculates the value of zakat, now he حسب قيمة الزكاة، قيمة راح يدفع, not the date itself or grapes itself. No, the value. And gives green grapes or dates or other dry raisins or dates against that value. وحسب القيمة مالتها مو تمام. شنطة أنطى بدل القيمة مالتها شنو؟ أنطى date or give dates or give dry dates or fresh dates. Give grapes or raisins instead of what? Instead of the value. It is a matter of ishkal. What does it mean, a matter of ishkal? It means أحوط وجوبا. It's obligatory precaution not to do that. It is obligatory precaution not to do that. Otherwise, to see another mujtahid, to follow another mujtahid. If you are not applying this issue for say Sistani, go for the other mujtahid, which is the most knowledgeable after say Sistani. Also, if it is obligatory on a person to pay zakah on green dates or grapes, this is obligatory on him to pay zakah on green dates or grapes. That means they are wet, not dry. He cannot pay it with the dry dates or raisins. He cannot pay it with the dry dates or grapes. Why? Because it is obligatory on him to pay what? To pay with the fresh one or green one. And if after calculating the value of zakah, he pays it from other dates or grapes. He calculates the value of zakah. What he did, he's not going to give its value by money, but he give the value of dates or zakah or grapes from what? From other dates or grapes. He has another dates or grapes, just like another types of dates or another types of grapes. It will be a matter of ishkal, even if the other dates and grapes were green and fresh. Even it's a matter of ishkal. Sistan is rejecting this. If what? If the other grape or date were green and fresh. Why? Because you know that the dates and grapes are what? Are types. Are types. They are not the same what? They are not of the same kind or of the same type. And each one it has what? Each one it has its prices. Issue number 803. If a person dies with a debt, this person dies and somebody he has money for somebody. If a person dies with a debt and has a property on which zakah has become due, and he has property and he has to pay zakah due to this property. It is necessary that don't forget, this dead person, he has a debt. This person, he has a debt. So it is necessary that in the first instance, the entire zakah should be paid out from the property. The entire zakah should be paid out of the property, and thereafter pay his debt. And thereafter you should pay what? You should pay the debt. So first of all, you have to pay the حقوق شرعية, the zakah, first of all. Then you have to pay the debts to the other people. It is very important. If a person dies with a debt and also has wheat, barley, dates. Look, this person dies with a debt and also has wheat, barley, dates or grapes. And before zakah, on these things became obligatory. This person, he dies before what? Before zakah, on these things became obligatory. His heirs, الورثة مالته, his heirs paid his debt from other property. His heirs should pay the zakat, should pay the debt from other property. The heir whose share equals to 847 kilograms, the heirs who has the share of 847 kilograms approximately should pay zakah. Why? Because his share reached to the liable zakah. Okay, should pay zakah. And if the debt of the deceased were not paid before zakah, on these things become obligatory. You see that? And if the debts of the deceased were not paid before zakah, on these things became obligatory. And if his estate just equals his debt, it is not obligatory for the heirs to pay any zakah. Why? Because they have to pay debt, and the debt before the zakah becomes liable for barley, dates and grapes. So they should first of all to do what? They should pay back the debt. They should pay back the debt to the creditors or to the creditor, okay? And they don't have to pay zakah, and they don't have to pay the zakah. All right. And if his estate just equals his debt, it is not obligatory for the heirs to pay any zakah. And if the property of the deceased is more than his debt, now he has money and his property is more than the debt, and if the debt calls for payment from a quantity of wheat, barley, dates, and grapes, then whatever is paid towards the debt will have no liability of zakah. Why? Because we are going to pay the debt of the creditors, okay? And he doesn't have that proximity way of zakah, which is 847. And if his estate has just equals his debt, it is not obligatory for the heirs to pay any zakah. And if the property of the deceased is more than the debt, and if the debt calls for payment from a quantity of wheat, barley, dates, and grapes, then whatever is paid towards the debt will have no liability of zakah. In the residue, whoever from the heir receives a share equal to the minimum taxable limit should pay khums. Now, if any of the heirs has the share of 847 kilograms and more, he should pay what? He should pay zakah. If his share reached to this taxable, he should pay what? He should pay zakah. Generally, they should pay what? They should pay the debt of the other property, and the zakah should taken from the grape, barley, and date. If he doesn't, the property is not enough for the debt, okay, and they have to pay the debt before, and it doesn't, there is no zakah still there is no zakah. Why still there is no zakah? Because we are not calling the date as date. التمر بعدنا ما سميناه تمر، سميناه شمري. The grape is not a grape. It's still what? It's still حصرم. Okay? So there is no zakat. So we have to pay what? We have to pay the debt. هنا علينا ندفع الديون مالته. How about the zakah? Still we do not have zakah. But when the heirs have their share, and the date, we call it date, tamar. The grape, we call it inab. And it has the share of 847 kilograms. Now they have to pay zakah. Is this clear? Yes, Sheikh.
So we can easily say that the zakah will be...
Have the mic, please. But hurry up.
We can say that the zakah after the death of the person will be divided on the heirs themselves. And the one who his share reached to the 847, he will be responsible of paying zakah of his share only.
Yes.
But concerning the debt, that they should together all pay.
If they have another property, they
Yes.
have to pay the debt from the other property. If they do not have, first they have to pay the debt, and when they took their share, if they reach to the 847, they should pay it.
Oh, thank you very much.
You are welcome. Yes. Issue number 1904. If wheat, barley, dates, and raisins on which zakah has become obligatory, barley, wheat, raisins, date, when zakah becomes obligatory on them, are of good quality. درجة أولى. And inferior quality. ممتازة. The obligatory precaution is that zakah for each of the two categories should be given separately from its respective type. We have good quality and inferior quality. بضاعة يعني some of them are very good in quality and the others were not good in quality. Now, from where should I give the zakah? Both should zakah becomes from the good quality or of the inferior quality. Sayyid Sistani said the obligatory precaution is that the zakah for each of the two categories should be given separately. يقول هذين الاثنيناتين بالنص مناصفتان from its respective type. From its respective type. Each one should be given. والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم ولا